Today I fucked up by giving my girlfriend a sex toy. Obligatory. This happened a week ago. Notice. Since my girlfriend and I will both be in different countries for a while, I thought it'd be nice to give her a gift. Being a man, and not being capable to think about anything beyond toys, I gave her a sex toy. A pink remote-controlled vibrating egg, to be precise. Loaded it with 2 fresh AAA batteries, and explained how it works. You press this button to slow it down, this one to speed it up, loud and noisy, and this one turns it off again. She was happy, I was horny. She put it in her backpack and we left to catch her train. We get to the train station, she gets on the train, it's all emotional as expected, but everything is fine. Until about an hour into her train journey when she calls me to angrily communicate to me that I did not properly tell her how to turn it off. You see, while she was waiting for her transfer, someone's phone went off. People were checking their phone, and soon enough realized it was coming from my girlfriend's direction. The buzz was terribly loud, but she was holding her phone, and it certainly wasn't buzzing. With everything staring, she awkwardly adjusted her bag and felt that her bag was buzzing. Confused, she reached into her bag and pulled out the bright pink ball of joy, for everyone to see. Now if that wasn't bad enough already, she had to search through her stuff to find the tiny remote. Meanwhile everyone was still staring at her, and she was turning all kinds of red. According to her, this took like 10 minutes. When she finally found it, she pressed the on/off button. But nothing happened, because I hadn't told her, you have to press and hold. Too long didn't read, gave girlfriend a vibrating sex toy. She shows it to a bunch of unexpected strangers at a train station. You ruined her buzz, man. She should have just said I like my eggs scrambled. One time when I was long distance with an ex, I ordered her some batteries for her favorite toy. Mostly as a teasing joke, but I ordered the batteries online at a wholesale place, just googling, and they were weirdly cheap and I messed up the order. So it was 2 toaster-sized boxes that arrived. She picked them up with a couple friends with her, who wanted to see what she got from her boyfriend. She was pretty embarrassed, but a good sport, when both boxes were just filled with C batteries. C batteries, Jesus, what kind of toy was that? 9 times out of 10 it's an electric razor. But every once in a while, looks around, leans in conspiratorially / it's a dildo. Leans back / of course, it's company policy never to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. We have to use the indefinite article, a dildo, never your dildo. There was many ways she could have handled it somewhat quietly, like trying to shut it off while her hands were in the bag and she was fumbling with it there or something. But nope, she flipped that bad boy out like she was showing Simba to the animal kingdom. Today I fucked up by not mentioning the extra kid that was hanging out with my kids. Obligatory disclaimer that this happened before quarantine, not today. I have 3 kids under 6. I came home from work one day and looked into their playroom and saw them hanging out with a kid I didn't recognize. I chatted with him a bit and just figured that my husband had invited him over. I left and told my husband I had just checked on the kids and all was well. We usually check once every 30 minutes or so. Didn't mention the extra kid because I thought he knew. I then went to take a shower. By the time I got out of the shower, all hell had broken loose. My husband discovered this extra child and called the police. The kid's parents had called the cops because they thought he was kidnapped. It turns out that he lives a few houses down from us and just happened to wander away and into our house. He found our kids and decided it was playtime and my kids accepted him as one of their own. He had been missing from his parents' house for about 40 minutes. No, it's not a major fuck up. But if I had just mentioned him to my husband, it would have been 20 fewer minutes of torture for his poor parents. On the bright side, my kids have a new friend now and his parents are actually pretty cool. Too long didn't read, assumed bonus kid was supposed to be there and didn't mention him to my husband. Turns out he was a fugitive. I ended up with an extra cat like this. Damn thing is still here 18 years later. My husband and I have a running joke that if he looked more like us, we could have just kept him. I could definitely see that. My kids were always bringing home strays. I was a single dad and I swear that I must have fed half the neighborhood. In my neighborhood I was the kid. I would roam the streets looking for cookies and a good time. My parents had to turn the house into Alcatraz. I've had that a few times. Our neighborhood has like 8 families with kids the same age as ours, and sometimes I'll walk past our playroom and notice an extra child or two. I ask if their parents know they're there, but you can't ever trust that, so I end up shooting their parents a message on FB: "Hey, I guess I have your kid. Do you want them back? Lol." Today I fucked up by showing my doctor a photo of my yeast infection and her realizing I peg older men. The beginning of quarantine, so late April? I ended up with a super itchy vagina and self-diagnosed myself with a yeast infection. Now, I've never had one before and the internet states go to your doctor if this is your first time. However, right around this time my father had started a new job, meaning that we lost his old job's health insurance, so my mom decided to just buy me some Monistat, OTC yeast medication, and pray it away. It went away, but came back a few weeks later right when my dad finally got on his new job's medical insurance. I documented the first yeast infection, mostly for me to see, and showed it to my mother. I still had the photo on my phone and saved it into my hidden photos album on my iPhone. Now here's the slightly important part. I am highly into BDSM/kink. I do some side dominatrix work and would document photos and shared it onto FetLife, a BDSM site, to garner more clients. I am a 20-year-old black girl and you'd be surprised at how many 30 years oh plus older successful men love that stuff. It's just my niche and I love it. So, fast forward to me going to my doctor. He checks me out. I do have a yeast infection but it's not as bad as the first one. Gives me my prescription yada. I'm like, can I show you what the first one looked like? It was so gross and weird. And she's like, sure. So I show it to her. She then tries to zoom out of the photo. She closes the photo and goes back to my hidden photos album. The photos surrounding it were of older men, me pegging them, toys, etc. She simply says, "I'm so sorry, I was trying to zoom in," and I'm like, haha, no, it's okay. Here you go. She looks at the photo and is like, yup, yeast infection. Okay, well, let me walk you out. We say our goodbyes and now I feel like I can never go back to her. BL, doctor went to the doctor for a possible yeast infection, showed her a photo of it. She tries to zoom in, accidentally clicks out of the photo showing my photos of me pegging men who are obviously way older than me and other things. Embarrassing as it was, given the reaction, I'd consider keeping your drive, as sex-positive professionals are still not always the norm. Besides, it's like denting a new vehicle. It's over now and you don't have to worry about it happening in the future. Any conversations about sexual health will be much easier now. You're completely correct. Thank you for this smile. I kept replaying the entire 20 seconds of what happened in my head and felt so embarrassed. But I doubt, hopefully, she even thinks of it anymore. This went in a different direction. I was sure you were going to say there's a particular sort of yeast infection that can happen by pegging men and that she recognized it. The real way was actually much better. Pretty sure she's heard plenty of stories and probably also enjoyed a few herself. Listen, doctors see and hear the weirdest stuff. In the overall scheme of things, this was just another day for her. Also, considering she's a doctor, it's important to know your sexual history, maybe not the nitty-gritty, but it is important to get information on your sexual health. As long as you're staying healthy and safe, it doesn't matter. Oh, I see you know my dad. Oh, I see you've met my husband. Bit of a tip here, for future reference. When showing someone a photo on your phone, zoom in slightly. That way they won't accidentally swipe to a different picture. I was showing my doctor my wedding pictures on my phone, mainly because he helped organize an exemption for the waiting period due to health, and he just started swiping through them all. I had a brief moment of panic because I sometimes take random boob shots to send to my husband and I didn't know what he'd see. Like, why the fuck was he swiping so long? But now I tell this tale I realize he's seen my boobs for exams anyway.